This is Greg Troutwine with Marine Technology TV, and we're really pleased to be joined today by Matt Allen, Director, Subcon Blue Solutions, to discuss the creation of the Wonder Reef. Matt, from your profile on LinkedIn, I see you have a long and diverse background in the marine industry. To start us off, can you just give us a little insight on your career journey?
Yeah, thanks, Greg, and great to be meeting with you. I firstly say I've got salt water in my veins, so I bought my first boat when I was 12, and I've been on the ocean ever since. When I finished high school, I went to sea in the Merchant Navy, and then I went to university and did a naval architecture degree. And following that, I commenced a career in oil and gas, working offshore, building platforms and installing structures on the seabed. 11 years ago, I founded a company called Subcon, primarily to stabilise pipelines and deliver marine foundations into the offshore energy market. And we've diversified that business into coastal and port infrastructure, and engineered reefs has become about half the business. So we've really pioneered that space.
You know, we're obviously here today to discuss the Wonder Reef. Can you give a succinct overview of what exactly Wonder Reef is, with insight on how and why the concept came to be?
The Wonder Reef is an underwater dive destination 2 kilometres off the Gold Coast and in Queensland in Australia. And it was really inspired by local dive enthusiasts and the Gold Coast City Council that want to attract dive tourists to stay at the Gold Coast. So about 4 years ago, they came out with expressions of interest for different reef companies to pitch a solution for them. And we collaborated with a public artwork sculptor called Daniel Templeman from Brisbane and came up with the Wonder Reef concept. The reef's got nine structures in total, and each one stands about 20 metres tall. And the really unique thing about this reef is that it's floating. So we really borrowed from our oil and gas backgrounds and essentially built 9 mid-depth buoys with sculptures installed on each one.
Why was a floating or a moored and floating design chosen?
It's a great question, Greg. One of the characteristics of this location is we commonly know it as the Gold Coast, but its other name is Surfers Paradise. And the reason surfers like it is because there's heaps of waves, and it catches the tail of cyclonic cyclones or typhoons, hurricanes as you'd call them. It catches the tail of those. We're in 30 metres water depth, and the design wave is 18.6 metres high. So that's our 200-year event. And it's just a really, really challenging location and survivability criteria. The client wanted a reef that catered to a range of divers as well. So we needed to cater for resort divers that can dive down to 10 metres, and then open water to 18, and advanced open water down to 30 metres, so 100 feet. And so the structures had to be 22 metres tall. So we've got these competing criteria of this massive design wave that we've got to satisfy, and a client that wants the tallest structure they can possibly get. We, through our innovation sessions that we had as we came up with the concept, we spent about 6 weeks just hitting brick walls in our thinking, because we were initially thinking of building a fixed structure that was piled into the seabed, but the budget just didn't allow for it. And yeah, one Friday afternoon, we said, what if we make it float? and everything really flowed from there. The whole concept just came together.
When was the reef installed, and what is the expected life of it, and is there any service regimen that goes along with that?
Yep. So we installed the reef in August last year, 2021, and we actually kept it closed then for 6 months to allow the ecosystem to establish on it. And we've designed for a 30-year design life. So the structures are bare steel structures, but protected by anodes. And we've specified a typical mooring regime for the inspection. So the reef really consists of 3 components. It's got the floating sculpture at the top, a 65 mil chain, and then a 75-ton clump weight at the base, which tethers the structure on site.
Discuss some of the design aspects of it, but can you actually walk us through the design of Wonder Reef, describing it's obviously a unique shape, why this shape was chosen, with specifics on some of the materials, and a little more insight on the mooring system?
Sure. So when we came up with the idea of making the reef float, we're all engineers, and we sketched up what we thought it could look like, and it really looked like it had been designed by engineers. It was really blocky and just lacked inspiration, I think, apart from this idea that we could make it float. Daniel called us up and asked if he could collaborate with us on the project, and his artwork explores ideas around gravity. A lot of his terrestrial sculptures look like they defy gravity, and this presented a great opportunity for him to explore that idea, because we literally are defying gravity. And also there's this unique experience that you can deliver, because the people who are interacting with the sculptures are weightless when they do it, and they can interact with the sculpture 360 degrees. So it's a really unusual opportunity for Dan, and he started off inspired by hot air balloons and that idea of buoyancy and those sort of tapered teardrop type structures floating up, and how the structure starts off quite narrow and opens out at the top and gives you that sort of uplifting sense. And that morphed into the flute design that we call them, like a champagne flute, and we went from there. It just fit perfectly over that mid-depth buoy structure that we've used to suspend the sculptures.
So Matt, can you share information on cost? Because I'm sure many people watching this might be interested in what exactly it costs. But, from soup to nuts to design, engineer, and construct the Wonder Reef. Can you share some insights on the cost?
Yep, yeah, definitely. The total budget for the reef is 5 million Australian dollars, so it's probably about close to $4 million US dollars. The business case for the reef estimates 16,000 visitors a year, and that'll generate approximately 3.5 million Aussie dollars of economic activity. And there's also a lease arrangement for dive tour operators to moor at the site. So we rent the moorings, which don't fund the capital expenditure, but cover a lot of the maintenance costs throughout the year. So the primary business case for the reef was around driving economic activity through overnight stays and all the discretionary spend that the dive tourists have at the Gold Coast. So it's a really nice blue economy story, ecotourism story.
When you look at this project holistically, what do you consider to be the top 2 or 3 challenges to making the Wonder Reef a reality?
Yeah, when I was thinking about this question, there's one really unique challenge that you never ever come across in a normal sort of offshore project, and that's that Dan's an artist and has an idea about how the aesthetic should be, and then we're structural engineers that are designing a reef to DNV and design codes, and there was just this really interesting tension between those two, because we had to learn to think like Dan thinks and appreciate where he was coming from, and a couple of times he had to put his foot down and just say, just go and sort your engineering out and make it work, because we were trying to change the shape so that it fit in a Sachs model or things like that. We did some really innovative stuff. I think it's the first time Orcaflex has been used to design a model of reef, for example. And the 18.5 meter wave coming through the site in the model, just the whole reef sways and lays down as the storm passes over the top. So and all of that had to knock back through Dan's design to make sure that it was structurally sound in that instance. And the other big challenge we had was just getting the reef stable during the installation right from day one. So a really elegant thing about our design is that we were able to pick the mid-depth buoy up from the top with a hydraulic release shackle, and we already had the chain and the anchor pre-installed, and we just picked them off the barge and put them straight in the water, and the reef was cyclone safe from the start. So those, I think those two things were, really unique challenges to this particular project. We just got this really nice fusion of art, science, and engineering going on, but it wasn't without its tensions.